hip hop was all streets,
Yeah.
and then you had your backpack rappers, and it was either or.
Yeah.
And I would kind of connected with both, but I wanted like the backpack rappers to kind of sound like more like the street rappers. And then Drake forged it, right? A lot of people they weren't early adopters of Drake because they were like, nah, man, not,
It's too
they wanted to
soft.
be so
Love
exactly,
songs. Yeah, love songs.
exactly. And every artist, I think art, you have to live through something where you feel you have a message, you're inspired to put this thing out into the world.
Yeah. Um, I it's like writers as well. So you have Stephen King. He's a volume writer. So he's hit and miss, hit and miss. But if you go look at his catalog, he publishes at least one book a year, and he's been doing it. I mean, he's done it for consistently for decades. Sometimes in combination with short stories, etc. His process is wake up every day, or I don't know if it's still uh, like this, but his process was at least in 2015 when I last checked. Wake up every day, write 2,000 words before doing anything else. Every day, even if you whether you want to or you don't want to, you wake
Mm-hmm.
up and you write. So it's like I would compare that to let's say Drake or artists that have that sign big deals
Yeah.
for multiple albums. And then you have other writers that drop books, maybe two books in 3 years time, and then the third one will drop 5 years later, and those people write out of inspiration. Drake, I believe, is also a very talented artist,
Absolutely.
definitely. his
Absolutely.
uh, his his rhymes are amazing, but I agree with you that if your goal is to just keep pushing and you get an album, some of the some I mean if he has some bangers,
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
but then maybe the next track will be it's not that good.
And
And
it hurts when it's not that good.
but on that level, the goal is different. So it's just like Stephen King. Stephen King is a great. The reason why the publishing companies push Stephen King is because he can guarantee a book every year.
Yeah.
And
I mean
if
that
it,
that in and of itself is a skill, is talent, right? I'm not discrediting that by any means. My connection is all of, and you talk about the, like you saying writer's book, but I'm saying writers, also the way I want to bring up this, right, is like, writers behind the music, because every artist has certain writers.
yeah,
If we think about, and let's go back to bringing up love, right? The best love songs, you had to go through love to connect with it at that level. And when you do, so like you couldn't write a love song without experiencing love. Now
Mm.
you experience love and then you write the song that put it into the words that millions of people like just connect with their heart. Is like such, it's so deeper than surface.
Yep.
It's, like now we're talking about like magic and what's, what music is supposed, like not supposed to be, what music has the ability to do to the listener, and it's
Underlying connection that you don't see in the lyrics and the sound of the voice. That's what you're
it makes
trying.
you look at the world differently,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? That is, I don't want to say it's just missing, but I believe that we're in an era and where I don't know if we're analyzing certain, like what we're getting from, whether it be content, from music, from movies, whatever it is, what media, it's supposed to help you on your journey through life or make it better. And if not, then what is it for, right?
Mhm.
Entertainment. um but when it does help you, or you enjoy listening to it because people will recite movie lines because it's funny, right? And then you laugh and that feeling that emotion. Like I'm a deep thinker, so it's like everybody does these things, but they don't even think about the things that they're doing. These are game-changing and life-changing forms of art. When Drake puts out these songs that you just skip, there's nothing inherently wrong with it because we got the whole album, but we're missing those moments where it's like you just have to pause the song because it's like, wow, this is I'm feeling this in my stomach. Kanye has those. It's like, wow, I really, even if I don't feel him with, let's say, Donda, like even if you didn't lose your mom, you're saying, wow, this guy really, feels connected to his mom in a way that makes you appreciate your mom even more, right?
So, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think but I'm gonna dive into the Drake versus Kanye part. I think that's the biggest difference between Kanye and Drake in general. And I'm not saying that Drake to me is a very good artist. He's great at what he does. But a lot of times if you listen to his songs, his album, and that's this those small that the small difference. Kanye can shift the tide. I've never heard an album of Drake that shifts the tide. He adjusts or makes it a bit. He jumps into the tide and surfs it pretty well.
Very.
But just think about the Sunday service. That's the group, right? Kanye's gospel group.
Yep.
Just remember before the Sunday service album, how many choirs were in albums before that and after. I find it interesting that after that album, there's a lot of more choirs being added to songs. Those are the small things. People don't notice them, but I like Drake. Drake was in my wrap up for he was number 2 of most listened artists. Number 2
all time or current?
No, the last year.
I thought it was number one.
Okay.
Didn't you tell me it was number one?
No, it was Fuerza Regida was number 1.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So that's a Mexican group, but
Let's call them a group. Yeah.
Let's call them a group. Well, they are a group. That's pretty.
Yeah, they're a group. Yeah.
But Kanye has a different. It's just different. He can make
the trendsetter is what you're saying.
Yeah. Where he's shifting the tide of the. Just remember, guys, 808 and Heartbreaks. Before the hip hop before and after. Hip hop before and after the Red album, the Dark Twisted Fantasy. He changed the sound of the genre. And I don't think Drake does it. And I think that's not gonna say this. Just I have a feeling that that's bothering Drake more than people actually notice.
Why would you say bother though? So why do you say that it bothers him? So because I would say that there are different.
I'll tell you
he's trying.
He's trying. You can hear it in the songs, but it's not. He's trying to do something. He's trying to build a bridge to a new song, not a new song, a new sound. But it's not getting there. It's that's my feeling, right? His latest album, I really don't see the. I'll be honest. I like Drake, like I said, number 2 in my wrap up. But this last album didn't connect one bit. There's like maybe the songs he released after, like the EP he released after, had better songs. But I'm like, dude, why are you keeping this sound? I mean, you have to connect, like create a something that bridges, but he doesn't. I don't know what is wrong.
And it's also I'm with you, and it's also it's not like it was before. So when he came out, he was swinging. He was like
Yeah,
swinging for the fence.
Yeah.
So the bar, like it was so high for what he was capable of doing,
Yeah.
because everybody kind of was looking for what he was getting ready to do next,
Yeah.
or what he was on. And I was an early adopter of what he meant to hip hop. Like I remember in college and even right after college, the fact that he was writing about like more sentimental type of,
Mhm.
like it wasn't, hip hop was all streets,
Yeah.
and then you had your backpack rappers, and it was either or, and
Yeah.
I kind of connected with both, but I wanted like the backpack rappers to kind of sound like more like the street rappers, and then Drake forged it, right? A lot of people, they weren't early adopters of Drake because they were like, nah, man, not,
It's too
they wanted to
soft.
be so
Love
exactly,
songs. Yeah, love songs.
exactly.